My husband died 5 years ago. At least, that's what I believed. And every single month since then, without fail, I sent $220 to my in-laws to pay off what they called his debt. It was never optional. It was never discussed. It was simply expected. One day, my neighbor from the floor below stopped me in the courtyard and said something that made my stomach drop. "Stop sending them money and check the security camera." The next day I did, and the scene that unfolded before me left me frozen. But before I tell you what I saw, you need to understand how I got there. The smell of peeling plaster mixed with drains that hadn't been cleaned in years hit me the moment I turned off the engine of my old burgundy sedan. The building had been standing in the heart of Detroit for more than 70 years. Old brick, cracked windows, a place that looked tired, just like the people slowly wasting away inside it. I parked in the same corner spot I had used for 5 years. It was the 5th of the month. Payment day. 5 floors. No elevator. I adjusted my purse, feeling the thick envelope pressing against the inside pocket. $220. An insignificant amount for some. For me, it was 1/6 of my salary. Milk for my son. Tutoring sessions. Basketball league fees. But I climbed anyway. Clack, clack, clack. Each step echoing in the dim stairwell like a reminder of the burden I carried 5 years ago, so that my husband Andre could go work in the oil fields of West Texas. His parents withdrew all their retirement savings, $13,200. The day Andre died, his mother Evelyn pointed a trembling finger at me. "Because of you, my son had to leave home." Her words still echo. She said now they were empty-handed. She said I had to assume responsibility. $220 every month for 5 years. I accepted, not because I agreed, but because I wanted peace. Peace to raise my son Jaden. Peace to honor the man I believed I had lost. By the time I reached the 5th floor, sweat trickled down my back. Apartment 504. The iron door painted a fading blue. I knocked 3 times. Sharp, clear. Knock, knock, knock. Silence. I knew they were home. They were always home. Samuel, my father-in-law, suffered from arthritis. Evelyn complained daily of headaches and dizziness. They lived like shadows in that 600 square foot apartment with the blinds drawn and the door bolted day and night. Finally, I heard slippers shuffle. The deadbolt slid back with a dry crack. The door opened just enough for Evelyn's face to appear. Wrinkled, suspicious, cold. "Yes? Hi, Mom. I brought this month's payment." She didn't smile. "Give it here." I passed the envelope through the narrow opening. She snatched it without counting and shoved it into her robe pocket. "Is Jaden okay?" She didn't look at me when she asked. "Yes, he asks about you." Her expression tightened. "We're not up for noise." 5 years. My son had stepped into that apartment fewer than 5 times, and every visit ended within 15 minutes. "Go now," she said suddenly. "The draft will make you sick." The door slammed. The bolt clicked. I stood there staring at cold iron. No invitation inside. No glass of water. No warmth. Just silence. Terrifying silence. Like a tomb. I didn't know that at the exact moment I turned around to leave, a pair of sharp eyes watched me from behind cracked blinds. Not old eyes. Calculating ones. I walked down those 5 flights of stairs feeling like I was escaping an airless basement. The courtyard outside felt different from the 5th floor. Children were playing basketball, their laughter echoing against brick walls. Women sat on benches snapping beans, gossiping like they had done for decades. Life moved normally down there. But upstairs felt sealed, buried. I was halfway to my car when a firm hand grabbed my wrist. "Keisha, is that you, baby?" I turned. Miss Hattie, retired tenant association president, professional observer of everything. She didn't waste time on small talk. "Did you go pay them again?" I nodded slowly. Her eyes narrowed. Next month. Don't. My stomach tightened. I only have 2 months left. It's Andre's debt. She leaned closer. The dead sometimes ain't that dead. I stared at her, confused. She lowered her voice even more. I ain't talking about ghosts. I'm talking about flesh and blood. I see a man go up to that 5th floor around 1 or 2 in the morning. A chill crawled up my spine. He walks with a limp, she continued. Left foot dragging, shoulder dipping. Looks real familiar. Andre had broken his left ankle years ago. I felt my pulse in my ears. That man, she said. He uses a key to apartment 504. If you don't believe me, check the camera between the 4th and 5th floors. They just installed it. She released my arm like she had said too much. I stood there, heart pounding. Not dead. Walks with a limp. Has a key. That night, sleep didn't come. Every memory of the last 5 years replayed differently. Why had Evelyn always looked past me when I delivered money? Why was that apartment so sealed even during summer heat? Why had they insisted on cash every month without fail? At midnight, I grabbed my phone and called my cousin Dante. He was a tech genius. Quiet. Reliable. Dante, I whispered. Do you know anyone connected to the security cameras in my in-laws' building? There was a pause. I might. Why? I think I dropped something on the stairs. I need footage between the 4th and 5th floors. 5th or 6th of every month. Around 1 to 3 in the morning. Another pause. That specific? Yes. I'll see what I can do. The next afternoon we met at a small coffee shop tucked away from the main street. Dante pulled his laptop from his backpack. You're scaring me, he said softly. What's going on? Just show me. He turned the screen toward me. Grainy black and white footage. Timestamp glowing in the corner. 1:45 a.m. Empty stairwell. Still. Then, a shadow entered from below. A man. Baggy jacket. Cap low. Face mask. He climbed slowly. Right foot. Then left foot dragging slightly. My breath stopped. Pause it. I whispered. Dante slowed it down. The man shifted weight. Left shoulder dipped. That walk. I knew that walk better than my own. I had watched it cross our living room for years. I had watched it carry groceries. I had watched it walk away the morning he left for Texas. It was Andre. Alive. The man reached the top of the stairs. He didn't knock. He reached into his pocket, pulled out keys, selected one confidently, inserted it. Click! The door to apartment 504 opened. He slipped inside, closed it carefully. Dante looked at me. Do you recognize him? I couldn't speak. Play the previous month, I managed. He did. Same time, same man, same limp, same key. Next month. Again. 3 months in a row. The night after I delivered the money. Every time, I felt nausea rise. For 5 years I had been funding someone who was supposed to be dead. Copy all of it, I said hoarsely. Put it on a USB. Dante didn't ask more questions. He saw the truth in my face. When I got home that evening, I locked myself in my bedroom. The video replayed again and again. The jacket he wore. I had bought that jacket. The way he turned his head slightly before unlocking the door. Unmistakable. Andre wasn't dead. He was hiding, and his parents were helping him. 5 years. 5 years of double shifts. 5 years of guilt. 5 years of my son asking about his father. And the man was alive, slipping into that apartment like a thief. Only he wasn't stealing from them. He was stealing from me. I opened my budget notebook. Debt to grandparents 13,200. I had paid 58 months. Only 2 payments left. If Andre was alive, there was no debt. There was only a scam. A carefully orchestrated, long-term extraction. And I had been the source. But suspicion wasn't enough. I needed proof beyond security footage. Proof that would crush them legally. I wiped my tears. Tomorrow, I would begin hunting. And this time, I wouldn't climb those stairs as a widow. I would climb them as an investigator. The morning after I saw the footage, something inside me had shifted. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I calculated. At work, I rewrote numbers over and over in my notebook. Original debt, $13,200. Monthly payment, $220. Payments completed, 58. Plus holiday gifts, medicine money, extra emergencies. I had given them over $14,000. $14,000 to support a dead man. Except he wasn't dead. I texted Dante, "Can you check their bank activity?" Indirectly. "Anything strange?" Hours later, he replied, "It's tricky, but I can check public-facing patterns." That evening he called, "Keisha, they haven't withdrawn pension money in years." "What?" "They get about $2,000 a month in combined Social Security. It just accumulates. Hardly any withdrawals." My mind raced. If they're not using pension money, what are they living on? "Cash," Dante said quietly. "Cash. My money, and someone else's. Andre. He must have been bringing cash when he visited, which meant he wasn't just hiding. He was earning, somehow, illegally. 2 days later, I decided to test something. I bought a high-end foot massager, heavy box, expensive looking, an excuse. I climbed the stairs at p.m. That was new. I had always visited during the day. Before knocking, I paused. Inside, I heard a television and voices, clear voices. "Eat, son. Eat while it's hot," Evelyn said. My body froze. Then a man's voice responded, "Relax, Ma. She just brought the month's money. We're good." My heart slammed against my ribs. That voice, deeper, rougher, but unmistakable. Andre, alive, inside that apartment, laughing. I knocked. Instant silence. Footsteps shuffled. Door opened slightly. Samuel stood blocking the entrance. "At this hour? Why didn't you call?" "I brought a massager for your arthritis." "Leave it. I can bring it inside." No, from deeper in the apartment a cough. Dry. Male. Samuel stiffened. "Your mother has a cough," he snapped. That was not Evelyn's cough. I knew my husband's cough. I had heard it through flu seasons, through winter colds. That was him. The door shut hard. I stood alone in the hallway. That was confirmation. Security footage. Voices. Cough. He was living there. But there was still one thing I needed. If Andre was alive, then what was buried in Toledo? The urn. I remembered the day the ashes were delivered. A representative from Texas. "Mr. Collins," he said, identification wasn't possible. Cremation had been urgent. Humanitarian circumstances. I called him. "I need original documentation for insurance purposes." Long pause. "That may be difficult after 5 years. Please try." He sounded nervous. That confirmed something else. The paperwork was thin. Conveniently thin. That weekend, I told Evelyn I wanted to visit the grave, to thank Andre for giving me strength to finish paying. She hesitated, then allowed it. I packed a screwdriver and hammer in my purse. Jaden thought we were going to visit Daddy. He was excited. The drive to Toledo felt endless. Cornfields on both sides. Sun beating down. Jaden talked nonstop about tractors, about angels, about how Daddy must be proud. Each word cut me deeper. The cemetery was quiet. Midday heat kept everyone home. Andre's niche was third row in the columbarium wall. Black granite plaque. His smiling face etched in stone. Jaden placed flowers. "Hi, Daddy," he said softly. "Help me get good grades." I swallowed hard. "Go catch grasshoppers for a minute, sweetheart." He ran off happily. I unlocked the glass door. The urn was brown ceramic, engraved. Cold. Too cold. I placed it gently on the ground. The lid was sealed with silicone. My hands shook as I inserted the screwdriver. Pried slowly. Crack. A piece of seal broke. Sweat rolled down my neck. Another crack. Finally, the lid loosened. I lifted it and looked inside. Empty. Not fully empty, but no ashes, no bone fragments, no gray remains, just stones, construction rubble, pebbles the size of a child's fist, dust. I felt the world tilt. 5 years. 5 years we had prayed to rocks. 5 years my son believed his father was inside that urn. I turned on my small lapel camera, recorded everything. Close-up of stones, close-up of emptiness. Today, I whispered into the camera. I confirmed that Andre's death was a fraud. My voice was steady, calmer than I expected. I resealed the urn carefully. Glue, press, clean edges, locked it back in place. No one would suspect. But now I had physical proof. Security footage, hidden presence, empty urn. The lie was complete. But I still didn't know why. Why fake death? Why 5 years? Why hide in Detroit? Why not disappear completely? The answer would come soon, and it would be uglier than I imagined.
After Toledo, something inside me stopped trembling. The grief was gone. In its place was precision. I sat in a roadside motel room that night while Jaden slept, scrolling through Facebook. Andre had old friends, men he drank with, men who cried loudly at his funeral. One name stood out. Rico. They used to call him Buzzard. He had held my hand at the funeral and said, "Don't worry, I'll look after you and the boy." After that, he disappeared. Now his profile was full of party pictures, bars, motorcycles, industrial backdrops. One photo made my heart stop. Rico holding a beer mug, on his wrist a Seiko sports watch with a blue face. My gift. Our second wedding anniversary. I had engraved A+K on the back, and there was a scratch near the clasp from a motorcycle spill. The scratch was visible in the photo. Why was Rico wearing Andre's watch? Mr. Collins had said all of Andre's belongings were lost in the accident, so either Rico stole it or Andre gave it to him, which meant they were in contact. A live contact. I zoomed into more photos. Many were tagged in an industrial park in Toledo. In the background of several shots, I noticed the same rusted warehouse structure. Dante dug deeper. Rico manages a mechanic shop, he told me, but it's a front. There's loan sharking connected to it. Loan sharking, gambling. My chest tightened. Dante continued. I tracked his public movement patterns. Every night around 11, he drives to an abandoned warehouse behind the industrial park, stays about an hour, brings bags of supplies. My blood ran cold. He's supplying someone, I whispered. And it's not a dog, Dante replied. We knew Andre wasn't living comfortably in apartment 504. He was hiding somewhere else, using his parents as an access point, using me as income. The next night, we drove to Toledo. We left Jaden with my mother. Dante brought equipment, a voice recorder disguised as a pen, a GPS tracker. We wore dark clothing. The industrial park was nearly deserted at night. Broken asphalt, tall weeds pushing through cracks. We parked far away and walked. The warehouse stood isolated in the middle of an empty lot, rust covering its metal doors. Dante checked his phone. He's 10 minutes away. We crouched behind rusted barrels about 20 yards from the entrance. At 11:15 p.m., a motorcycle engine echoed through the lot. Headlights cut through darkness. Rico. He removed his helmet, carried 2 large plastic bags. He approached the shutter, knocked 3 times. Hard, soft, hard. The shutter screeched open. Yellow light spilled out, and then a figure stepped forward. Dirty tank top, long unkempt hair, beard, thinner, darker from sun, but those eyes, that nose, that posture. It was Andre, alive, breathing, standing in front of me. My husband, the father of my child, the man whose urn held rocks. I had to bite my lip to stop from screaming. Did you bring everything? Andre asked. His voice was rougher, but it was his. Beer, food, smokes, clothes, Rico replied. Andre grabbed a bag and laughed. You live here like a king, Rico joked. A king my ass, Andre scoffed. This place is an oven. They stepped inside. Rico rolled the motorcycle in. Shutter lowered. Dante whispered, we need audio. We moved closer along the sidewall. There was a small crack in the metal paneling. Light escaped through it. I pressed my eye to the gap. Inside was a mattress on the floor. Plastic table, fan, small TV, improvised survival space. Andre and Rico sat down, opened beers. I slid the recorder through the crack. The conversation carried clearly. Rico laughed. When you planning to leave? Soon, Andre said. I'm waiting for the last payment from my wife. My stomach twisted. She hasn't missed a single month, he continued, punctual like a clock. Rico chuckled. You're cold. Andre took a long drink. I owed 50 grand to the mob in Texas. If I stayed, I'd be dead. Faking my death was the only way. My hands trembled. So you make her pay. What else was I supposed to do? Andre snapped. My folks' pension ain't enough. Rico laughed again. And now you're making good money here. Andre smirked. Yeah, but I like taking it from her. Why not? Keeps her busy. Keeps neighbors suspicious of nothing. My parents complain about poverty. Nobody questions cash. There it was. Not desperation. Not survival. Enjoyment. I hate her preaching, he added. She's young. She'll find someone else. I felt something inside me collapse permanently. That man had once kissed my forehead and promised forever. Now he called me a fool. I shut off the recorder. It was enough. More than enough. We retreated quietly. Dante looked at me. Are you okay? Yes, I said. And for the first time in 5 years, I truly was, because grief was gone. Only strategy remained. The morning after the warehouse, I did not cry. I did not hesitate. I went to a lawyer. Dante came with me. We sat in a quiet office with beige walls and framed law degrees that suddenly felt like weapons. I placed everything on the desk: security footage of Andre using the key, the recording from the warehouse, the video of the urn filled with stones, screenshots of Rico wearing Andre's watch, financial calculations of the money transferred. The lawyer listened to the recording. When Andre said, I like taking it from her, the lawyer paused it. His expression hardened. This is aggravated fraud, he said. Identity falsification, document forgery, financial exploitation, conspiracy. He leaned back. With this evidence, he's going to prison. My breathing remained steady. I want every dollar returned, I said, and I want him exposed. The lawyer nodded. We move carefully. If he suspects anything, he runs. Within hours, police detectives were involved. 3 coordinated arrests: warehouse, apartment 504, Rico's residence. I was told to stay home, but I didn't sleep. At 2:03 a.m., my phone rang. Primary suspect detained at warehouse location. I closed my eyes. At 2:11 a.m., 2 elderly individuals detained at apartment 504. At 2:26 a.m., accomplice in custody, 5 years, ended in 23 minutes. The next morning, I was called to the precinct. Through the interrogation room glass, I saw him, Andre, unshaven, handcuffed, smaller than I remembered. He looked up. For a split second, our eyes met. There was no love there, only calculation. The detective pressed play on the recording. His own voice filled the room. I like taking it from her. Andre's shoulders dropped. The confidence drained out of him. He tried to deny it at first. Then the security footage played. Then the urn video. Then the watch photo. Layer by layer, the lie collapsed. He confessed. He had faked his death to escape gambling debts tied to criminal loan networks in Texas. His parents helped stage it. They coordinated with Mr. Collins to produce falsified documentation. He returned quietly months later. Rico helped hide him. The monthly debt payment was their income stream. 5 years of structured fraud. When detectives questioned Evelyn and Samuel, they cried. They said they were protecting their son. They said they feared for his life. But the financial records showed otherwise. Their pension accounts were untouched. They had tens of thousands accumulated. They were not desperate. They were greedy. Rico was charged not only for conspiracy, but also for operating an illegal loan sharking business. The story spread quickly. Fake death schemes always do. 3 months later, the trial began. The courtroom was full. Reporters, curious onlookers, former neighbors. Andre wore a suit this time. He avoided looking at me. The prosecutor laid out the timeline with precision: security footage, financial transfers, fraudulent documents, recorded confession, empty urn. When the video of the stones played in court, a murmur rippled through the room. 5 years of emotional manipulation reduced to rubble inside a ceramic container. Andre's defense tried to argue fear, desperation, coercion from criminals, but the recording destroyed that narrative. He hadn't sounded afraid. He had sounded amused, calculated, enjoying it. When the judge read the verdict, the courtroom was silent. Guilty on charges of aggravated fraud, identity falsification, conspiracy, and financial exploitation. Sentence: 12 years in state prison. Mandatory restitution. Full repayment of stolen funds. Evelyn and Samuel received probation due to age, but were legally required to repay every dollar they had taken. Rico received multiple years for conspiracy and financial crimes. When Andre was escorted out in handcuffs, he finally looked at me. No apology, no remorse, just anger that he had been caught. I felt nothing. Not hatred, not sadness, just relief. The man I mourned 5 years ago never existed. The one who stood before me had already been dead in my heart. Restitution payments came in installments, combined with my savings. I sold my small apartment. I bought a modest condo filled with light, windows that opened, air that moved freely, no sealed doors, no hidden footsteps at night. Jaden got his basketball league back. He didn't understand everything, but he understood this. Mama, you don't cry anymore. One afternoon, I picked him up from school. He ran toward me waving a paper. I got an A in math. I lifted him in my arms. What a champion. That evening we celebrated with fried chicken. Nothing expensive, nothing dramatic, just peace, real peace. As we walked home, under trees swaying in warm wind, I realized something. For 5 years, I believed sacrifice without question was love. I believed endurance was strength. But true strength wasn't climbing those 5 floors with an envelope every month. True strength was opening the urn, listening at the warehouse wall, walking into a courtroom, and refusing to remain the fool. The fake tomb still stands in Toledo, polished, undisturbed, a monument to a lie. But it doesn't matter anymore, because the truth isn't buried. It's on record. And the man who tried to erase himself is serving 12 years remembering exactly what he did. I don't visit him. I don't speak his name at home. Jaden has a future now. And this time, it's built on something solid, not stones,